Now, now, I want us to look at the how he explained the role of the EMT and his role.
Right.
Yes.
Well, so the EMT, I think there has been a conversation that a lot has been said about. And, you know, as a sub-committee of cabinet, the preoccupation is to provide guidance, or if you like, advice for cabinet's decisions. And so necessarily, and you have been around these boardrooms and you know how it works. So it's not as if that as a committee, their positions are sacrosanct. And so what advice and guidance they provide relative to the economy, there are different moving parts of the economy. So if they provide a certain view, other people around the table, an entire cabinet will have to synthesize that position and take a decision. So that position, the outcome of any cabinet decision is cabinets, not the individuals who constitute or any committee of cabinet doesn't take ownership of it, right? So the advisory role they provide is to bring to the table a set of ideas for cabinet to consider. Now, what decision emanates from that discussion after the committee has provided its view is a cabinet position. So that, for me, is a dynamic style.
Why was the need for this explanation?
Because there's a clear misconception about the role of EMT.
Misconception by who?
By the general public, that the EMT has some magical powers to stand in cabinet and say, this is what you must do, and if you don't do it, we're not going to close from cabinet. But it's not that. It's a corporate decision-making body that gets ideas, and EMT provides some guidance in terms of what we must do, and the cabinet as a whole synthesizes that idea. And that's why, so you can liken that to a committee of parliament that would probably sit, digest an idea and come up with, you know, the nutrients out of whatever idea is and say, Parliament, pass this or consider this, and it will fail on the floor.
No,
and so it is important to show that the committee's work, okay, is subservient to the decision of Parliament. They bring the idea, and Parliament in the plenary will have to synthesize that idea and move forward or not.
So for the 19-man cabinet, all the members of the EMT are members of cabinet as well. All the members.
Well, sometimes they may call in, experts.
No, those are not members.
Okay.
They are just called in attendance.
Well, of course, because I'm saying so because their work constitutes an idea, right? It constitutes an idea. So that idea, input, and all of that will be.
No, the question I'm just asking is that.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
The membership of the EMT.
Yeah.
They are all cabinet ministers.
You should say so. Yes.
The vice president who chairs the EMT is also the number 2 on cabinet. He is the deputy chair of cabinet. Okay. Now, that explanation, is it to suggest that we gave advice contrary to what you are seeing? We gave advice that was not taken. So understand that my role is simply to advise. I'm not responsible for the outcomes. I'm not responsible for what you think is wrong. That I gave advice, I don't implement. And therefore, if you have a problem with the economy, don't blame me.
No, I don't think the vice president sought to say that. What exactly he said is to correct the perception that the decision on how to run the economy belongs to the EMT. That's not true. Okay. So it is not the EMT that manages the economy. It's a factually incorrect position to hold. So he corrected that. That was the need for him to explain so we know how the systems work.
So explain this for me. Just hold on a minute. Let's watch Dr. Bawumia himself speaking about the economic management team. And then I'll let you explain why that for me.
Look at the economic management team. It is quite clearly a fantastic team. Professor Jambafo, Dr. Akutose, Dr. Afriye Akoto, Honorable Alain Chiramanting, Boachi Ejaku, Ken Oforiata, Senior Minister Yao Osafo Mafu. What a solid team. In fact, can anyone remember the NDC economic management team? I'm sure they themselves cannot remember who their economic management team was. Kukrudu, fellow Kukrudites, we were elected to fix the problems, and I'm glad to report that we are fixing the problems and we are putting in place the policies that will drive the economic transformation of this country. It is very clear that
I would want all of us here to, and on behalf of my colleagues, say a very big thank you to the type of leadership the EMT has enjoyed from Dr. Bawumia. A chairman who is so involved in the work of he works like a member, like a secretary. It's sterling quality, professionally excellent. So we are where we are because Dr. Bawumia is putting up a very professional chairmanship to the EMT. And I pray that we continue to work together as a team.
The two videos I played, what do they mean?
Well,
especially the first one where Dr. Bawumia himself speaks about the economic management team. And you see the portfolios he mentioned, the persons and the offices they hold. This includes the finance minister. The offices they hold. And then the accolades. And then he finishes, and of course, he ridicules the NDC, economic management team. What was that about?
Well, it was just outlining for you the quality of the members that forms
of an advisory body.
Yes, of an advisory body. But I want to know, if you can check before I get to that point, what year Mr. Osafo Mafo's video was made? What year it was?
This should be in 2020.
Okay. 2020.
2019, 2020.
Yeah, 2019 perhaps, because I don't think 2020. Yes. Okay, so
then he was still senior minister.
Yes. Okay. So critical in every society.
So you're saying that the vice president mounted a campaign platform and touted an advisory, a subcommittee of cabinet, an advisory body, and mentioned the people on that body. And used all those adjectives to describe them. And asked if anybody remembers the NDC one, and ridiculed the NDC. And he did all this and ended up by saying that they are fixing the economy, they are going to fix it. And he was just speaking about a subcommittee of cabinet, an advisory body that really has no influence.
Yes.
That's what he did.
So I think that you give me some space to answer the question. The first one. The first question on his announcement of EMT and the accolades. And you know that this is the outset of the NPP government when we came in, right? When he made that announcement.
This was in
2017.
No, this was in 2018.
2018.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Let's try and see if
yes, 2018.
Okay. So 2018. 2017 we came in. I just gave you the numbers. The GDP of our country was growing. When before we took off in 2017, it was declining. So that statement is manifest in the quality of people that he said were there. In 2018, 2019, we saw growth. What derailed the economy? We have said it clearly. It is the fact that COVID and Russia-Ukraine disrupted that potential for continuity in that growth. So the idea that we have quality people on EMT is not nullified by the situation we're in. Now, even that, the situation we are in, okay, is clearly because of the challenges we face. But the point I want to make is that the individuals who are on EMT have not misadvised or they have not failed. The reason we are where we are is because of the challenge we faced. And that challenge, an EMT in any country would suffer or has suffered this. Okay? And the global economic situation tells you where every economy is. Now, you make the argument.
No, I'm just saying that the question I'm asking you is that at the time he made this statement, the role of the EMT, as he has described, we don't have a pre-COVID role and a post-COVID role.
Right.
Okay. Now, here, when he was eulogizing the EMT and ridiculing the NDC, he did not tell us that they are just an advisory, they are just a subcommittee, they just give advice, they don't implement anything. That's not what he was telling us.
So, you see, I think...
Just hold on a minute. That's not what he was telling us. Why is he today taking the pains to explain to us how the EMT is nothing but adversarial?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, that the EMT is a subcommittee of cabinet.
Yes.
Right? Its advices are implemented or not by cabinet.
Yes.
But a better way...
And all of them are cabinet members.
A better way...
The finance minister is on the EMT.
Yes.
The vice president is on the EMT.
Yes, yes.
The trade minister is on the EMT. The agric minister is on the EMT.
Yeah. So that's fine, we know. The point you would need to understand...
Yes.
We need to understand is not that he is taking the pains to explain this to excuse himself, but there's an obvious misconception in the public to say that EMT is the head. EMT is not the head. We must understand the fundamental structure.
So why did he elevate the EMT
but
on a platform?
Yes.
And to list the individuals on the EMT?
No problem. I'll come to that answer.
And to tell us how these are super brains.
Yes.
And to ridicule the NDC.
Yes, because I just told you the performance of that super brain EMT that he talked about from 2017, 2018, 2019.
Their performance is what?
Their performance is a 7% GDP on average for that 3 years up until COVID and Russia.
So we credit the EMT.
We are not crediting
for the performance of the economy.
Hold on. We are not crediting and discrediting. We're just continuing a conversation. The need for him to explain that is to correct a misinformation in the public domain.
How?
We need to correct that. What is not the head cannot be made the head. What is the tail must be the tail, and what is the head must be the head. You need that proper understanding to proceed with the analysis.
So why are you crediting them with the 7% and all those things?
I haven't even done that. I haven't even credited.
Oh, you just did?
No. Let me continue with the conversation for you. So the EMT, as it is, properly situated, it's not the head. It's not EMT that leads cabinet. So that must be understood.
So who leads cabinet?
Which cabinet leads itself?
Who?
Cabinet
who constitutes cabinet?
I'm saying that.
Yes.
Let's not delve into all those
it's important.
tangential issues.
It's not tangential.
Cabinet.
No. I take exception to that.
Okay.
It cannot be tangential.
Okay. Who leads cabinet?
It cannot be tangential.
Okay.
A committee that has the vice president, the finance minister, the trade minister, the agric minister, the senior minister, and you say that it is tangential.
Yes. Yeah. So what I meant by
the same people will provide as the EMT.
Yeah.
They provide the advice, and they come and sit as cabinet.
Yeah. If you allow me, I will.
They come and sit as cabinet, and you say that is tangential.
Yeah. No. Tangential because you are saying who leads it, and I know you know. That's why I say it's tangential. Okay. Right. So to the core question that you have raised, I say it's tangential because I know you know. Right. So cabinet in relation to EMT is superior. Okay, so that position must be clear, and that's why the vice president took the pain to explain that. Now, the accolades and the exoneration of the EMT that he is part of and chairs, their record is manifest. Their record from 2017, 18, and 19 is
Whose
manifest.
record?
That, in terms of what work they do to support EMT, is manifest. I was saying that because we're singling out what he said. That's why I'm saying their work. In terms of what advice they gave, which were taken or not taken by cabinet, is manifest in the 7% average GDP growth from 2017 to 19, right? Now, the challenge, unless you deny it, is that in 2020, a global catastrophe happened, which doesn't respect whether you have a superior EMT that supports cabinet or not. Across this world, economies went down on their knees. Okay? So there's an exceptional extenuating circumstance that has happened. Okay, well, the lawyers will say force majeure. Is that not the case? That something that in the normal happenings of life, you cannot plan for it. It's like death. You can be the strongest man. When death comes, you die. You cannot say because I'm strong, I won't die. So that is the exceptional circumstance. So that if you consider the kinds of people, the caliber of people on that EMT that he just talked about, they came to face a situation that was beyond their control. That was beyond the control of any other possible EMT across the world.
That was beyond their expertise.
Exactly. Yes,
okay.
Expertise.
Right.
Yes,
okay.
Right? If you say expertise, I don't know. But I think beyond their control. Right? Beyond their control, the expertise can be your word. It's beyond their control. And so because it's beyond their control, for example, like when death comes to you, it's beyond your control. You can't do anything about it. So they were forced in that situation, regardless of their performance. What has happened has happened. And that is evidence across the world that every economy across the world suffered. Okay? But you see, the same EMT is digging you out of the situation. Okay? And today, where we were in 2020, 2021 was actually better. 2022, most particularly, and probably March of 2023, okay? That EMT is digging you out of that depth that we got to. And today, the story is looking brighter. We have turned the corner and sustainably we are moving forward. And so he builds his vision on that. But the only question that you have asked in relation to the EMT and the accolades he gives them is because he believes that they have quality people on the EMT, but the pain to explain that EMT is not as the cabinet as we have it, is not a situation where the EMT is leading cabinet, that the cabinet is the head and EMT is the tail that supports it, must be properly situated for Ghanaians to know. If you don't know that, then you will make the mistake of saying that Dr. Bawumia is in charge of the economy. So
he's not in charge of the
economy. No, because the role of EMT is not in charge of cabinet. So the proper...
So he's not in charge of the economy.
You know that, Sidia. You don't have to ask me. You know.
I don't know.
Do you decide?
I don't know.
Okay,
because
wait, Sidia. Before you ask your question,
ask me.
Let me ask you.
I know.
Yeah. But let me.
So
I know you.
I don't know.
But let me
I want to tell you why I don't know.
Okay, let me ask you one question. It will help you know if truly you don't know. Do you make the argument that a committee of cabinet is superior to the cabinet?
I will never make that argument.
Okay. So if you don't make that argument, then you cannot misunderstand the position that we need to properly contextualize who is the lead and who is the support. Okay. So once you make that argument, you cannot say that the committee which is subservient to the cabinet is in charge of the economy. You cannot say that.
Is Dr. Bawumia the one implementing the communications strategy in this government? When I say comms in that regard, I'm not talking about information. I'm talking about communications. Let's even say digitalization. Is he the person in charge of the digitalization?
His office has an oversight for the implementation of some of the digitalization programs.
So his office oversees the communications ministry?
Not the communication aspects, which we know is a Ministry of Communication and Digitalization. Yes. So there's a general space.
No, I know there's a ministry.
Right.
Just like there's a Ministry of Finance.
Yes.
There's a Ministry of Communications and Digitalization.
Yes.
Are you saying that that ministry, headed by Mrs. Akufu,
Yes.
is supervised by the vice president?
No, no. It has oversight for for a specific aspect to do with digitalization.
So the
it's a
digitalization role,
partnership.
so the digitalization role of the ministry is superintended by the vice president.
Not necessarily, but has oversight in terms of cooperative implementation.
I don't get it.
Yeah, so it's not the
Are
role.
those decisions not taken by cabinet?
Which decision?
All the decisions, as far as digitalization is concerned,
Yes.
are they not decisions taken by cabinet?
Yes.
How is the vice president responsible?
Okay, so there are decisions agreed and signed off by cabinet and given to the ministry, or proposals from the ministry approved by cabinet, and then the ministry goes to implement. In that implementation phase, after all of cabinet has approved that idea, in that implementation phase, then his office has oversight for the implementation of what cabinet has agreed in relation to digitalization.
So he doesn't initiate them. He is not in charge of the policy formulation. When the ministry does its work and it comes to cabinet, and the cabinet approves it, communication is dealt with by the ministry. Implementation of digitalization aspect is done by Dr. Bawumia. Is that what you're explaining?
No, it's not that cut and dry. Now, from the initial stage, you're saying the proposals that goes to cabinet for consideration and approval will emanate from the ministry, from ministries working proposals. Cabinet can bring ideas, but then you assume generally that it will come from the ministry for cabinet consideration and debate and approval, right? So now, once that is done, and the idea becomes a cabinet idea for implementation, the aspects that relate to digitalization, the vice president's office has an oversight in helping with the implementation of that idea.
So what it means is that anything we see, as far as digitalization is concerned, is a decision by the cabinet.
Everything in government is cabinet
It's a decision
yes.
by the cabinet,
Yes.
and is from what you're saying, is leading the implementation.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when it comes to the tax policies of this country, are they not cabinet decisions?
Largely, yes.
They are cabinet decisions.
Yeah, cabinet decisions approved by parliament, yes. So it's a corporate position.
No, everything, even the digitalization.
Yes,
many of them are
I
approved
just
by
want to make a
parliament.
fuller point. I just want to make a fuller point that cabinet, yes, parliament. So it's a corporate decision at the end of the day, so that we take all of this into account.
So all the tax decisions are cabinet decisions.
Yes.
Not so.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, why would the vice president say that, for example, he's a member of the EMT? Say the EMT advises cabinet,
Yeah.
and then cabinet takes the decision. So they bring the advice, then they come and sit in cabinet, and then they will try and persuade, because they will make the presentation. So they will try and persuade the other colleagues to see the way of the EMT. Now, this EMT has implemented tax policies. The vice president says that, I don't believe in this. If I got the opportunity, I will change it. I don't believe in that, I'll change it. I don't believe in this, I'll change it. I don't believe in this, I'll change it. How does that work? That he's in an EMT, and then he sits in cabinet. The cabinet takes a decision on tax policy. So specifically, there is emissions tax, there is VAT on electricity. He's talking about flat rate, which means that he doesn't believe in the rate of the taxation that we have now. He mentions betting tax. All these are proposals that went to cabinet, of which is a member, from EMT to cabinet, and then cabinet approved, and they went to parliament, and they are being implemented. He says that I'll depart from all of this. Some of these measures are even 2 months or 3 months old. What does that mean?
What it means is he's rendering his vision, what he would do if he has a cabinet of his own as the president of this republic, what considerations he would give, what once an EMT under him and leading a cabinet, whatever proposal they bring, how he will guide for implementation.
So he disagrees with these tax measures.
Now, there are two things to that.
Okay.
You look at, first of all, the environment. What would necessitate the consideration for or against a tax proposal? Okay? And if the environment warrants agreement with it or disagreement with it, ultimately the buck stops with you as the president, as the host of this program. The buck stops with you. So you then say that I speak first or Sami speaks first. So president will guide that this is what we must do. Cabinet will debate and all of that and come to a consensus position. But when he is the head of EMT, all that consideration will be given, all that debate will be allowed, but his preference would be to move in a certain direction.
So it means that, so the point I'm asking is that, does it mean that he disagrees? For example, if he says you have a flat tax regime, does it mean that he disagrees with this regime? If he says that he will scrap e-levy, does it mean that he disagrees with e-levy? All the things that he says he will change. Mind you, his government has 10 more months to go. It says that all these tax policies, I will change them. Is it to suggest that he disagrees? Is it to suggest that he was not in agreement when those things came up? Is it to suggest that he did not approve of them at cabinet?
Those are possible arguments to be made by Sami, and I'm sure he's going to.
I'm just asking you because
I'm going to answer your question.
He has made a case against policies that have been. He's the head of the EMT, even if he's
I know.
Nigeria.
Yeah.
He is on the cabinet.
Yeah, I agree.
He's the vice president of the republic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
I don't want to add the fact that he follows the finance minister to go and present the budget. You know, but he says that
that again is tangential.
But he says that I will step away from all of this.
Yes.
What does it mean?
Yes, it means that he is looking forward to an environment that will be different from this one, where the conditions allowed for the implementation of those policies. That simply is the situation.
It was part of the IMF negotiation.
That's fine, but I'm saying that.
Just hold on. It was part of the IMF negotiation.
Yes.
These things, many of these things, or all of them, are part of the IMF negotiation. You've signed up to a 36-month thing.
Right.
So I'm trying to reconcile the two.
But so specifically, you're talking about the e-levy. E-levy is not part of the IMF.
No. So
then the VAT,
Betty,
electricity.
VAT on electricity, because government is, if a cabinet, we are told, says that it is going to engage the IMF again on this VAT on electricity.
No problem. I mean,
which clearly indicates that it is part of the IMF.
That's okay. I mean, there's no denying that. But you see, senior, you take medicine when you are sick. Okay? You can take preventive medicines, but essentially, you are called upon to take medicine when you are sick. So he's telling you a situation where he sees that Ghana would heal by the time he gets to become president. Looking forward, based on the trend.
2025.
Yes, based on
we are still on the program.
Oh yes. Yeah. We are on a path coming out of the slump that we're in. You won't say that we are where we are. Where we are is not the same place we were in 2022 or March of 2023. So he's looking forward, saying that we are digging out of this. We still have 10 months to dig out of this sustainably. If you continue on the path that we've been on from 2022, December 2022, with inflation up until December 2023, where it got down to about 23%, then you can reasonably forecast to say that by this year, December 2024, your GDP, your inflation would have gone down much further. And you have seen that.
No, that's not what he said.
No, but that's what goes.
He didn't say that.
That is what would have gone to the making of that position. Because that position, he's not explaining to you why he's doing that. The reasoning that goes into that is that I was sick. I had to take a medicine that include e-levy, emission tax, and all of that.
Those taxes don't have sunset clauses.
But I'm saying that.
How do you say that this is what he means?
But if the fact that there are no implicit sunset clauses in them doesn't mean they cannot be.
Are you suggesting that what Dr. Bawumia is saying is that if he got opportunity of becoming president today?
Yeah. No, he won't. He can't be president today.
I said,
but he won't be.
Okay. I don't want to be misrepresented.
Yes. So we president.
But I'm just saying that. Are you suggesting that if he got the opportunity of becoming president today,
No.
he will not be able to scrap all those taxes.
So the factual thing is that Dr. Bawumia will not become president today. By the time he gets to become president, it will be 2025, January 7th, by which time much of this economy will be up for examination. It would be a situation in his analysis to make this recommendation. At that point, the economy will be in a much better place to allow for those policies to be considered. Okay, so now until then, when he becomes president, he envisages that the economy on the path that we are on will be much better, would warrant that we remove those taxes. And don't forget, Senior, there's a history to this government, okay, which came into government in 2017 and removed some 21, some 15, and reduced the rates of some 4, or a total of 21 taxes. We did reverse them. Okay, so that history is there because we considered that things were different in that environment, so it warrants that we give Ghanaians a break. So he is just telling you that consistent with how he has operated with this government, if he gets to that point, expecting that things will continue on this trajectory forward, he will consider these set of measures. And the point, you know this well, it relates to your world very much, which is in sports. And just recently in Ivory Coast, for example, we brought some 23 players or so. Not all of them played. And those who played took responsibility, including those who didn't play, for the failure of our AFCON escapades. Now, there are specific players on the pitch who committed egregious errors, okay, albeit under pressure, committed errors that led to our painful exit. Those who did not contribute directly to that, those who actually scored goals for us to move forward, all together accepted the responsibility that we have all failed.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
It doesn't mean that they themselves directly have done anything that constituted the failure. Okay? But as a corporate body, they accept the responsibility for that. But in that team are people who have excelled, people who have contributed positively to move the story forward. Yes, another AFCON will constitute the same Black Star with the hope that they will learn from the past and build on to give us success. That's the cycle of life. And the proposition we're giving is that the performance of this government serves as a foundation on which to build forward. And Dr. Bawumia is putting forward a set of ideas, taking into account the transition from this environment to an environment where some of these decisions or policy decisions that obtains today will be revised. And in doing so, some that merit, okay, given the environment that we're going to be in, will be intensified and invested in. For example, he talked about the free SHS as one cardinal thing that he's going to continue to invest in because it has helped, it will help, and will continue to be invested in. Talked about industrialization. He will continue to invest in that so that Ghana industrializes and creates employment for our young people. So the vision, there's a lot to be hopeful about, and it tells us clearly that the election in 2024 is a choice between yesterday and tomorrow. The choice between the past and the future. And I think that all Ghanaians will consider to choose the future, which is Dr. Bawumia.
All right. So our friend, the Honorable John Jinapo, MP for Yapeku Service, and he says e-levy, and it's on the basis of what we're just discussing. It says e-levy was presented by this government to the IMF as part of existing revenue measures. It says read the ECF agreement. E-levy cannot be taken out without IMF approval, just like VAT on electricity.
Yeah, okay, that's a fair point. But then it is not a condition. It didn't come into being as a condition of the IMF. But then you leverage it as a revenue stream, because when you are making your case to IMF, you are demonstrating your revenue potential.
But what has been captured in the document is binding.
No, I agree. I don't.
So the point he's making is that for anybody who was part of this negotiation and knows clearly that this is what we negotiated with the IMF, this is what we agreed on, you would know that in order to do anything about this, you would have to go back to the IMF and go and make
about the e-levy.
Yes. Whether it's e-levy, whether it's VAT on electricity. And that's why I told you that living last week, the information from cabinet, in fact this week, early this week, was that they were going to engage the IMF as far as the issue of the VAT on electricity is concerned. So you cannot agree on something with the IMF. It's part of the document, your 36th thing, and then you create the impression as if it is something that
you can dispense with.
I can dispense on the basis of me holding a certain position.
No, you can't. You possibly can't. Because, you see, one of the things that I think is that in our democracy, we need to do a bit more of that. Because, you see, democracy is a rule by the people.
No, this is about the IMF
I agree.
program.
I mean, IMF notwithstanding.
Yes.
IMF notwithstanding.
Yes.
IMF is liaising with our government to correct a certain, balance of payment position.
We have signed an agreement.
I agree.
I will behave this way.
Yeah.
These are the things I will do.
Yes.
I've signed up to it.
Yeah.
If I do it, this is what you will do in return.
Yes.
And then you, the person who went to sign the agreement, says that, oh, this and that and that and that in the agreement, as for me, if I become president, I will take them off.
Yes, but you see, those agreements are in respect of revenue.
Yes.
Okay? They are in respect of revenue. So the position I just told you, it holds that if by 2025, our revenue position has improved to a point where we feel that we don't need that, we don't need the e-levy to be able to be self-sufficient, to be able to finance our affairs.
The projections have been done over the next 36 months.
No, I agree with you. But that position does not hold constant events of life.
Yes.
It doesn't hold constant.
So shouldn't, for example, anybody who says I'll throw it away, be telling you that perhaps these are the alternatives. This is what I'll do. I'll replace this with this. And then somebody even has the question. So at the time of entering into the agreement, where were those issues?
Which were like
the point I'm just making is that these tax handles are part of the IMF agreement.
Yes.
We have signed up to it.
Fine. I'm just saying that. But you see, so we need to distinguish that these were not set of policies like the betting and the 15% consumption, electricity consumption tax, which were conditions necessary for the IMF.
Which one are you separating?
The e-levy.
It is.
No, I'm saying that it was absorbed in it as a revenue measure that shows that you can raise a certain revenue.
Just like the others.
Yes, I'm saying that.
They are both old and new.
I agree. But
that you have put together. At that point, no. Once you have put them in the agreement, there's nothing like before and after.
No, but it's like having a child to go into a marriage. Okay? The man accepts, or the woman. You do accept. The man and the woman accept that this is my stepson, but it is the son. He doesn't wake up every morning and say, "Where's my stepson?" He doesn't do that. He say, "Where's my son? Where's my daughter?" So there are different things, but you deal with them at the same. But the point I am making. You get the point.
I get you.
So the point is that you should tell Honorable George Inapo that he's bleeding. All this.
That's stating fact.
No, I'm saying that
because the impression that
fact,
to be honest with you, I had not read the ECF that detailed. So when you said that the e-levy was not
technically it's not, but it's been brought in as a stepson, which is okay, a stepdaughter, which is okay, but it's still a stepdaughter. You can call it, you can choose to call it my stepson or my son.
There's only one IMF agreement between
no
Ghana
problem
and the IMF as you speak.
Yeah, but the ingredients in there have their own age. Okay, the e-levy came 2022.
I will not allow you to kill me.